Research is the process we undertake to find the answers to important questions. And there can be few questions which are as important as why do women suffer from ovarian cancer? Too many women die of this disease. We do not have the tools we need to prevent this cancer, to detect it early, or to treat it.
Most patients with ovarian cancer present with advanced disease. By the time we see them in the clinic, it's too late, and many of them die within 5 years of diagnosis.
It's the silent killer. It occurs at an age when women are experiencing changes in their bodies. They're not aware that some of these symptoms may be associated with ovarian cancer, so the disease often goes undetected until it's too late.
Women are suffering and dying of a disease which has some features which would suggest that if we found some solutions, we can make a huge difference quickly.
We know what cancer looks like, and it's not pretty. It's actually extremely complex. Now we are trying to deal with that complexity, and it's mind-boggling.
I don't know whether you realize that even you have the perfect chemotherapy and you target the cancer, if you don't have your defense system, the chemotherapy will never work.
Sometimes it feels like one step forward, 2 steps back, but we are still making progress and inroads into this disease.
So what we want to do at our tumor vaccine group is to come in after their treatment, before they recur, and vaccinate them against their cancer to prevent this recurrence.
In our clinic, we treat patients with ovarian cancer, but we also try to translate some of our findings from the laboratory into clinical protocols. My main protocol is a trial involving a drug called birinapant, which is a drug that stimulates cells to undergo a process called programmed cell death.
These early findings are very, very difficult to predict. We often have to try many different things. All of these are very costly, but this is the only way. There are no textbooks where we can look up how to do this. We are the ones who have to write those textbooks.
I'm particularly grateful for the Marsha Rivkin Foundation, which provided me pilot funds, which really enabled me to transition into a career in ovarian cancer research.
The biggest discoveries start with these small pilot projects. Those are the discoveries that we're not looking for, but they may actually impact research and final outcomes in patients the most.
Without the Rivkin Foundation, we might not be where we are today. I was awarded a pilot research grant a few years ago, and it formed the basis for the preliminary studies that were able to establish urinary proteins that could be used as the biomarkers.
Why do I do research? I don't know what else I would do if I don't do research. It's my life. The majority of us were born as scientists. So when we were little, you play with things where you try to discover, you try to solve the puzzles. And so it's a nature. I can't help being a scientist.
The approach we've taken was to, first of all, prove that ovarian cancer isn't a single disease and that we're dealing with multiple problems. And then we've taken a reverse engineering approach where we've been decoding ovarian cancers to identify new biomarkers and potential treatments.
We are testing the immune system. We are screening immunocells which are in a tumor. We are trying to figure out which element doesn't really work. Now there are several companies which already produce the drugs which are in a phase 1 or phase 2 clinical study.
For the vaccine that we designed that's in clinical trial now, I went and witnessed the very first patient getting that vaccine, and it was really very emotional for me to see this patient that would actually probably, hopefully, will benefit from something that I designed from the start.
I see patients with ovarian cancer. Usually when I see these patients, I am touched. I really want to offer them more hope. And one of the best ways to offer hope is to understand and try and prevent ovarian cancer.
I had some preliminary data where I looked at the birinapant drug on its own, but when we combine it with the docetaxel, there is increased numbers of cancer cells being killed. That was very satisfying to see that, because it was the first indication that our hypothesis may be true.
We are actually very close to getting a urine test for ovarian cancer. Our university has patented this technology, and they are currently in negotiations with commercial agencies to develop the test.
Everything is more complicated than I thought before. More I work on it, more I realize that there's no fast ways. A lot of research has to be done to really move it forward.
This is a difficult problem, but it's a sort of difficult problem where if enough smart people get together and work on it, we're going to find solutions. This is good value. If you want to make a difference in ovarian cancer, giving funds to the Marsha Rivkin Center is a very good way to do it.